Hello, everybody. So we are just gonna watch the new Switch 2 trailer, first look trailer, and then I'm gonna go through it kind of in like slow motion and try and break it apart piece by piece. Hopefully, being able to bring a little bit of my professional perspective to it. Anyways, let's jump into it. Okay. So we've got the original Switch here. Obviously, this is how the Joy-Cons come off. Now we've got the screen, it's getting bigger. We're going to a matte finish. Rails are coming in on the side. Ports on the bottom. Volume, port on the top. Different kickstand coming in here. I'm just going to talk through this. I assume anybody watching this has already seen this trailer a number of times. So yeah, Joy-Cons coming in bigger. And then obviously we've got our buttons there. We've got this like salmon color, I think. And that... It looks good. I mean, obviously it looks the same in a lot of respects. I wouldn't necessarily say it looks different, but it also at the same time I think it looks better. I like it. And then yeah, there's those. Well, I'll shut that out. There's something that I watched the beat 'em ups breakdown of this, and he pointed something out that I will look at when we watch it at 1/4 speed here in a minute. Yeah, and then of course we've got our just flashy outro here coming up with the showing the Mario Kart, which is of course a classic. How could they not? And I like the roundedness of the dock, and just everything feels like it has a nice like plush roundedness at the same time being kind of professional matte black colors. Here we've got the size comparison showing us that it'll still play original Switch games. It's peace of mind. And then we've got a direct coming in April. And I assume they didn't do April 1st because people would have accused them of April Fools. Okay, so that was the end of that guy there. So we're going to go back through it, and we're going to break it down at 1/4 speed, moment by moment. So I'm going to bring it down to 1/4 speed, and we're going to play it again. Okay, we've got our fade in intro here. That's really nice. The fade, I find the fade effect makes a huge difference for like the aesthetic. Fade in, fade out. Same with like fade in, fade out of music, background sounds. It really helps. Okay, so obviously we've got our original here. So buttons on the left and right, we've got our plus minus, our shoulder triggers, pretty big gap between the screen area, the body of it, and then the Joy-Con areas. Then we've got our rounded home button on the right and our square, select button of some sort on the left Joy-Con. And on the top, you can kind of see the volume rockers. Now those have all disappeared. Everything on the body has just disappeared, except for the screen itself, which still has a decent bezel around it. Now we're coming in through the top. It's kind of a glossy plastic, and then we're fading or kind of shaving into a more matte black finish. Now, I thought that these sides were going from the old rails to the new rails, but it's actually just going from a flat sheet. Everything's just going to flat sheet. Looks like we have screw holes, ports. We've got power button, volume rocker, left and right. And then coming in here, we've got our airflow. We've got another USB-C. We've got our 3.5 mil headphone jack on top there. That'll be nice. Here we've got, lines going in two different directions. That was a nice touch. And we've got our kickstand coming out. So someone mentioned that the kickstand, even though it looks kind of flimsy, it's like that for cable routing. You can run cables through there. You can grab it like a handle. So there's a lot of advantages to having it like that versus the solid one that the Switch OLED has. Part of me thinks that Nintendo is going to use, so there's they're not showing the Joy-Con port there quite yet. So they're really taking their time only putting features on after they've shown, like now they're going to do the Joy-Cons, and then the ports will appear on the body of the device. So here we've gone kind of, gray black. We've got our home button and then our square button below it. And we still don't have a proper D-pad. We've just got the directional buttons on that left Joy-Con. Coming in here with that salmon. Love the fade up effect. It's really nice. And then we've got home, unmarked square button. Our plus up there. It kind of looks like what you would get if someone 3D printed what they imagined. It's obviously just a render. No one has taken any video of a real Joy-Con here. So we've got our directional pad, fade up in blue, same kind of effect. And then the select button over there. And then so the ports, the battery has shown up, and then the ports. So they've got a battery indicator on each one, so you can see when the Joy-Con is going to start dying. It's just tucked in there. The buttons press down. They look like they're going to be really enjoyable to press. I don't know how accurate this is going to be. Those that's interesting. I haven't seen that. So okay, it doesn't look like they'll have a ton of movement, not like the like ROG Ally-X and all those, Steam Deck and all that. So here we're going to see them go onto kind of a cap or like a rail, and then just after at the end here we'll see them come off of those, and you'll see them shoot off across the tabletop. So right about here, there, they shoot off into the background there. So they're coming back to the device, and we're gonna get that lovely smack sound soon. I do find it interesting. The screen to me feels like it should be bigger, but then it looked like underneath the glass there was a bezel, like almost like a secret bezel. And we'll kind of see it when Mario Kart pops up eventually. We'll see that the bezel, the screen doesn't go to the edge of the glass. And maybe that's normal. It probably saved them a lot of money making it that way. And then it'll give them an opportunity to come out with a refurbished version in the future that has that maybe bezel-less OLED or something like that. So the bumpers, let's go back for a second. So right here, we're going to look at L2, R2, or L2 and L1 kind of bumpers on the back. Now, to me, it looks like they're one piece. I can see an L and an L2, but the plastic itself looked like it was integrated into one piece. And then earlier at minute Let's see, the Joy-Cons are coming up here. Yeah, stand. Oh, Joy-Cons, okay. So in a second, we'll see. Oh, there was actually a good look. At about 45 seconds in, the red Joy-Con's gonna flip around. And yeah, it looks like the two trigger buttons are almost sort of formed out of one piece of plastic. So you can still hit them separately. Likely that will mean that they are sort of a button actuation instead of, it's just going to be a digital input versus an analog. So you can click them separately, but they'll kind of pivot along the same spring system. They'll just have two separate buttons, so they won't accidentally actuate the other one, but it's just, I guess, one less moving part. It's kind of neat. I could see if you smashed the trigger in a certain way, you could actuate you could actuate both buttons at the same time if that is the case. So that's kind of weird. So a minute 18. Gonna pull the picture from. Okay, so we're zooming in. So right here. There we go. Oh, okay, yep. So we're at a minute and 20. Minute 21 here. The blue has just integrated. Okay, so here we're looking at the insert part on the screen, on the body of the Switch, for where the left-hand Joy-Con is going to connect here, and we're looking at the connection pin system. Someone mentioned that was probably going to break off. It was JD Coffee, I believe. Now, I partially agree, but if you watch further in the video, where the orange Joy-Con, the right Joy-Con, snaps off just slightly, and that shows that you're going to be able to slap it down and then click it in, and not just slap it straight in. So you can rest the bottom on the inside lip of the body inset there, pardon me, and then snap it in. I assume they kind of calculated that so that it's going to be hard to smack that pin connection, and you'll actually end up just hitting the edge of that inset, and it won't actually be able to really go in. There'll be some safety geometries in place, so it won't be able to go in and break that pin connection or bend that pin connection unless it's perfectly lined up in the first place. They probably gave some few millimeters of leeway. They probably have some good engineers working on these tolerances and precision and all that. And they probably gave it to some people to roughhouse a little bit. And then also a lot of this, I mean, this is all rendered. A lot of this doesn't look 100% final. Like, it looks really good. It looks like 3D prints that have come out, but it doesn't look 100%, not all of it. And so I think that pin connector, which is probably proprietary, even though there's already a patent for it, 100%, they would never release this without a patent for it. That pin connector is likely going to be reinforced in some way. Likely the pins themselves are going to be inset into a piece of aluminum or hard plastic, and really we're not going to have to worry about breaking them. They'll make them fully expecting children to smack them around. I have confidence that Nintendo is making this with the intention of it being abused. We saw how the Switch 1 was made, and in some ways it was a little cheap, but I've never heard anyone be like, yeah, my Switch just exploded, or its battery died, or the Joy-Cons stopped working. I've heard that the rail system is a little finicky after a certain amount of time, and the rails can slip off. The Joy-Cons can just slip off the rails randomly. But all things considered, that's not that bad. So I have a lot of confidence in them. April 2nd, we'll know more. Yeah, okay. Well, thanks anybody who took the time to watch this. This really isn't my thing, but I love this stuff. And so I wanted to get in on the action, I guess you could say. I think it's a lot of fun, and I just wanted to do it for fun. So if anybody happens to watch this, thanks. And I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed picking it apart with me. And I strongly encourage you to go, pick it apart yourself. It's fun. It's fun looking at these engineering things and seeing how these companies are trying to model things, especially upgrades, because this is like an official 2.0 version, and the only thing that has noticeably changed is it's gotten bigger. So it's interesting to see how these big engineering companies can iterate on their ideas. Thanks everybody, and have a good one. Bye.